It's going.
All right.
Good.
So we're on section 3, page 7. And let's just start reading. And if you come across a word you don't know, having reflected on the path of service that together we tread, we can now explore what it means to accompany one another as we walk in. Language allows the verb to be used in a variety of ways. People, for example, accompany each other to the store or on a ride, in their studies, or in their travels. But to accompany has a very special meaning for us in the context of our service to the cause. In its Rizwan 2010 message, the Universal House of Justice refers to the progress made by the Baha'i community worldwide at the level of culture and states the following.
This evolution in collective consciousness is discernible in the growing frequency with which the word accompany appears in conversations among friends. A word that is being endowed with a new meaning as it is integrated into the common vocabulary of the Baha'i community. It signals the significant strengthening of a culture in which learning is the mode of operation, a mode that fosters the informed participation of more and more people in a united effort to apply Baha'u'llah's teachings to the construction of the divine civilization, which the Guardian states is the primary mission of the faith. Such an approach offers a striking contrast to the spiritually bankrupt and morbid ways of an old social order that is so often seeks to harness human energy through domination, through greed, through guilt, or through manipulation.
In relationships among the friends, then, this development in a culture finds expression in the quality of their interactions. Learning as a mode of operation requires that all assume a posture of humility, a condition in which one becomes forgetful of self, placing complete trust in God, reliant on his all-sustaining power, and confident in his unfailing assistance, knowing that he and he alone can change the gnat into an eagle, the drop into a boundless sea, and in such a state, souls labor together ceaselessly, delighting not so much in their own accomplishments, but in the progress and services of others. So that it is that their thoughts are centered at all times on helping one another scale the heights of service to his cause and soar in the heaven of his knowledge. This is what we see in the present pattern of activity unfolding across the globe, propagated by young and old, by veteran and newly enrolled, working side by side.
We're on page 8, by the way.
Page.
I'm happy to read. I just didn't know if we were going to comment or you wanted to continue reading. It is clear from the above passage that the concept to accompany, as it relates to our service to the cause, has far-reaching implications, both for the life of the community and the individuals who comprise it. Let us try to gain a few initial insights into these implications by doing the following exercises. To begin, call to mind the many instances in the past when you were accompanied by others in the field of service. Say, when conducting classes for children, when contributing to the spiritual empowerment of a group of junior youth, or when acting as the tutor of a study circle. What were some of the attitudes and qualities evinced by those who helped you develop your capacity to serve? Write them in the space below.
Let's take a minute to do that.
If people have gone ahead and done this, they can share.
Oh, what kind of field of service did we do?
Does anyone want to share what they did?
Well, when I was nominated to take over the newsletter, and that was a good word for it, nominated, Marcia and Denny really took me under their wing. They showed me everything I needed to know on the computer, where she found certain things on the computer, always encouraging. And at the drop of a hat, I had to go back. So I'd take my computer and we'd go over to Fremont and they'd show me all over again. And I couldn't have done it without their help, but their encouragement and their you can do this, and I was sure I couldn't. And well, we get one out every week or every month, so I guess we're doing okay.
Yeah, you're great. You're doing a good
Oh,
job.
well, thank you.
Very good
Doing a
job.
good job.
Thank you. But their encouragement and she keeps telling me, you know, anything you see in my newsletter you can use.
The Martian?
Yes.
Okay.
Bless her heart, I have done it several times. So, and that was very helpful to me. Very helpful. And then I get Beirut for photographer. I found out I actually had a staff. You know,
I'll tell him.
had no idea. and John and everybody else that contributes is just wonderful. So thank you.
You got
all of you.
free consultants.
So I heard encouragement, positive sharing, detachment, and loving
Resources.
resources. And so in terms of qualities and attitudes, I think you've got it covered.
Deb, do you want to read number 2?
In a community where the word accompany is finding expression in the quality of interaction among the friends, as described by the Universal House of Justice, which of the following, each legitimate in its own sphere, would characterize the relationship between two individuals, one of whom is assisting the other in carrying out an act of service? An expert to a novice. Do we want to go into this individually or just read them?
We could all shout out our.
Yay or nay?
All right.
So you said expert to a novice? I say no.
No.
That's not the character.
No,
That's not how we should be interacting when
Definitely
we
not.
accompany each other.
Like parents to children.
What?
Like parents to their children. If
No.
the expert talks down to them.
That's one. That's a no too.
No.
That's one in the list here.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
I think in the last two.
Oh, parent to a child.
Deb, go ahead and read
Oh,
those.
sorry, a teacher to a student,
No.
a manager to an employee,
No.
a parent to a child,
No.
a trainer to a trainee,
No,
a skillful master to an apprentice.
No.
Yes.
You would say yes?
Yes.
see, I started to answer no and then I put yes with a question mark.
I see that as a definite yes.
As long as the skillful master has a humble attitude of learning
Right.
as well.
Well,
In my opinion.
Well, then why would you say no to a trainer, to a trainee?
Exactly.
I just from looking at those words, I relate it to a trade. I don't kind of see this. You can, but when I think trade, I'm thinking construction. That's why when I read the last two, just, a knowledgeable person, the knowledge of this, to the one who's uninformed, someone who's willing to learn. And then I see two friends, one more experienced than the other in specific area of action, learning together. Well, maybe.
I would
So
say
that was my big yes.
that would be my only yes.
which is the last one?
What?
The last one, or?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
for me that would be. But I can see what others are saying. But
I'm considering the idea of a skillful master to an apprentice. And how many of us that needed, if we were to need brain surgery, would go to Harvard and pick a newly graduated Harvard neurosurgeon who got straight A's, graduated summa cum laude, but he hasn't operated on one person.
But let's look at the question. It's not about surgery. It's about accompanying each other in
Faith.
this faith and
In service.
in service. It's not about surgery.
And
So
also,
that skillful master, for example, when I go to teach at Lou Helen, often I'm asked to facilitate with a partner who's very young and doesn't have experience. And as a master teacher, my philosophy is to step back and let that young person do it and then be there to guide if they need some help, not say, I'm the master, watch me and learn from what I do. And that's why I circled yes on that.
and one of our tenets is the independent search of all people in matters of the spiritual realm. And to kind of say you're a skillful master, you know, are we getting back to clergy again, you know, are we
It could be.
saying certain people have more spiritual, you know, are above others in their spiritual. Some people are, but are we supposed to interact with each other like a skillful master to a creed?
This knowledge of faith and knowing how to present it, how to teach it.
Yeah.
If you go through the material, are you automatically skilled in order to do that? In my opinion, the skill comes with the application of the learning. So in terms of a skillful master, I remember Abdu'l-Baha mentioning that there will always be a need for a teacher for humankind. In other words, somebody that has the knowledge and the skills in order to teach the ones that do not. And I'm thinking that in terms of a skillful master, you really do need to have some experience. But the experience comes from application. And Ruhi, from what I understand in the Ruhi classes, they are to build the capacity and then to also encourage the actual practice or the outcomes of this. And the skill follows. Sean brought up a skilled trades. A newly graduate from a program of, let's say, electrical, would he be able to go in and actually do the work that maybe a person that has been doing that for 10, 15 years? I would say it's impossible.
I think you're right that the point is to transfer what you've learned to someone else. But it's also important to remember that none of us are going to be masters of whatever it is we're teaching. Like in the example that Peggy gave, she's got some wonderful techniques for teaching. That doesn't mean that's the best way to do it. You know, and the person she's helping to become a good teacher will come up with their own ways of teaching, which may be as good or better. And then hopefully the knowledge can flow back to her as well. So it's just, I think it's an attitude thing, but obviously the point of having a relationship is to allow knowledge to grow.
I think the key word is attitude. Sorry.
Well, I also think there's going to be a variety of people in these positions as trainer, training, if that's what you want to call it. And I think it might be very off-putting to a lot of people to think that I have to be a skillful master to be helping this person along. A lot of people would just exclude themselves, you know, I'm not a skillful master, you know.
So,
I'm
you
not
know,
perfect.
yeah.
So if you want perfection before you get yourself in that position, you're going to have fewer and fewer people putting themselves in that position.
And also the little prompt, you know, it says, what would be the relationship, what would characterize the relationship between the two individuals assisting each other in carrying out an act of service? And it says, which of the following, which is each legitimate in its own sphere? So parent and child relationship is a legitimate relationship. It's a manager and an employee. These are legitimate trainer, trainees, skillful master, a surgeon to the patient or to the resident. These are all legitimate, right? But they don't necessarily, all of them, characterize two individuals assisting each other in the path of service.
Remember
That's
that
why
word,
people ask for
accompany,
that very reason.
the word accompany.
Yeah.
Say what?
Too, in there.
This last one set itself apart from the others, I thought, because you're talking about one more expensive than the other, but in a specific area of action, learning together. That to me tied it closer than some of the others. The others, I could think of all kinds of reasons. Well, how experienced is the trainer, or how skilled is the master? Maybe they're not skilled in exactly something that the students don't understand. But here, they're learning together in that last one. That's why I thought that was the one that really stood out for me.
And the person who is supposed to be the one of having more knowledge, you know, they'll continue to learn too. It's not like they have,
And we're saying
Oh,
assisting each other.
yeah,
You know,
accompany each other.
And maybe the question would be the reference to the term master. And isn't Abdu'l-Baha our master? And was there anything that he could use in order to extend his wisdom to the followers?
Yeah, but he was the master and there's no more designated as the master.
But the concept's still there. Somebody that perhaps has greater knowledge than somebody else. Granted, it's the context in which it's done, but the idea of the entire point, from my understanding of the Ruhi classes, is to build capacity and also establish a culture of learning.
Mm-hmm.
And the culture of learning assumes that you can always improve on your understanding. And the understanding comes from the application and, of course, the reflection on what you've done.
Absolutely, I think
I think that covers it. Would you read number 3?
Yes.
and I skipped over Marlene. Don't forget Marlene is back there.
Well, then you should come join us.
Yeah, that's what she wants, a table to work at.
What is the 3?
Yes.
You wanted to? Yeah, 3. As we accompany one another on a path of service, energy is released through interaction characterized by humanity, self-reference, reliance on God, and the genuine desire to see other progress. In dedicating ourselves to the construction of a new civilization, we should be conscientious of the spiritual, bankrupt, and moribund ways of disintegrating world and make sure that such ways do not tarnish the quality of our interaction. In this connection, give example of occasion when in the present social order, energy is harnessed thought, domination, greed, manipulation.
Oh, boy. I don't think we have to spend too much time on this.
Yes.
What jumped out to me of this statement is the statement that energy is released when we interact with each other with humility, selflessness, and reliance on God. Right? Energy is released. And whereas energy can be harnessed through all those negative things, right? That we witness in this disintegrating world. Do people have have examples they want to quickly share.
I just wrote, we are all affected by the forces of our time.
Yes.
And so all of the, we can all think of examples.
Well, I look at it as positive and negative energy, and those last four were all negative energy. It's a form of something that's happening with people, but it's moving in the wrong direction. It can corrupt the situation.
The dark side.
Yeah.
My examples for energy is harnessed through domination in workplaces sometimes. Price gouging for greed, through guilt in addictive or dependent relationships, and through manipulation in media and politics. Any other examples?
I don't think
Those are
we,
good examples.
those are good examples.
All right, let's do 4.
Okay, number 4. Whatever the example cited by your group in the previous exercise, you need to remember that those who use such means in order to further their own interests and ideologies do so in subtle ways. In this respect, you may find it helpful to reflect on the following questions. Question A. Is it possible to mask domination by acts of loving kindness?
Yes.
I think that is, yeah. Any other comments?
I have a note that sometimes family relationships can fall into that trap.
B, is it possible to manipulate people by pretending to give them factual knowledge and information? Well,
Yes,
we've all gone,
Factual knowledge.
we've all gone through a whole year of that. C, is it, of course, the problem is that you only get only part of the factual information and then leave out what, anyway, that's a different subject. Is it possible to hide greed by acts of generosity?
Yes.
Yeah, you think of the billionaire who makes a big deal out of giving $10,000 because he knows that he can write it off on taxes.
I was just thinking about that.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then D, is it possible to give legitimacy to guilt by evoking obedience to God?
Killing in the name of God.
Oh, wow, that is.
Yep.
I think these items in number 4 goes back to the address of the Universal House of Justice and the use of the word moribund. Moribund's definition is a force of death or destruction of systems. And by doing that, it leads to the destruction of whatever that influence is about.
Right.
So,
Dying. Carry on.
Oh, okay. It is important to mention here that the purpose of the last 2 exercises were merely to make us aware of tendencies in the world we need to avoid. Okay.
We know that.
Most acts of kindness we witness in our lives are sincere. People share knowledge without any desire to manipulate. Generosity is a spiritual quality that adorns the souls of many human beings. And obedience to God is often discussed without stirring feelings of guilt. We each should take care lest we fall into the habit of doubting the motives of those with whom we interact. Suspicion is a dangerous trait that can crush the will to act. Our ways of accompanying one another on the path of service should be free of suspicion.
So important. I've got that highlighted because it's so easy to start double guessing, why someone's helping you and doubting them.
Delicious coffee is made if anybody wants coffee, and there's hot water. There's hot water.
Let's try to have it together. Well, more Sean. About the last reading. Okay. Some sharing in Facebook one video about a woman. She making noise with the music. Imitation animal. Horses.
I saw that,
Yes, right. But one friend, her, the woman, she write something, try make guilty Sean because he say it's satanic. So she write long. I try to explain right. Maybe Sean can help me. She write long thing telling about God is only Jesus and this is satanic. She can support is people lie when say believe in all the ways go to the God, something like that, you know.
Saying that the music was satanic?
No, I guess the part that I missed, what they say, a medium, I guess, per se. And I looked at it as a woman who was doing, I looked at it like culture of Indians and, and I tried to explain to her, I go, hey, it's Indian culture. Nobody introduced Christ to the United States, to America, until it came here. They believed in the earth and birds and things like this, but she wrote a long story on the spirit within her is to tell the people. I mean, she was almost being forceful. Did you see it on there, what she wrote?
I did.
What did you think of it? I mean,
I think the way they labeled her, did they say shaman too, or just a medium? I don't
Charmin,
remember.
whatever that
Shaman.
is.
The who posted this video is a man saying medium, but she is a shaman. She making the music.
Yeah, but it was a performance like I'd never seen before, using something in her
Yeah.
mouth and making a lot of animals.